to the recording of week 3 for Mobile App Portfolio 1. Welcome to class. We're going to get started with a little recap from last week. So I'll just share my screen from Blackboard for week 2. And if you want to go there and follow along, you can, but you can also just watch. And we'll just kind of cover what we looked at last week really quickly. So, sweet. So you can see here, I try to do a little overview of the weeks as we go, so you can kind of just get an idea before you go in the folder. This is the topics we covered, important dates, and then whatever's due will be up here in bold, but also at the bottom here, and then kind of some screenshot to give you a reminder of what we did. So if you remember, if you were here last week, we did a little bit of team collaboration in Miro. So I'll just open up that board here in another tab. Oh, another tab. There we go. And hopefully you have access and you have started working on your board. I've been keeping an eye on it, and there's some really great work that's happening. So I've been invited to a couple of GitHub repositories so far. And we can see a couple of people are here right now. Raul's in there, and we also have got Tom, who's doing his as well. So your name corresponds with your color, and if you haven't already, you'll see you can see the work that Tom's been up to here, and it tells me the timestamp and everything when you guys worked on it. So some great stuff happening so far. So keep up the good work, guys. It looks awesome. And for those of you guys who haven't started yet, hopefully you can get started sooner rather than later, because then you will be caught up with everybody. So cool. So we did that. We looked at activity diagrams. We did some, we did look at activity diagrams, right? I do want to remember. Good. I'll just open this up here. Week 2. We covered activity diagrams, I believe. So we covered UML cases, and then we covered activity diagrams. We looked at all that notation for decision branching and all that stuff. Sync nodes and join nodes. Yeah, we did. Good evening, Raul. How's it going? And then we looked at a couple examples of what swim lanes are, and then we did some brainstorming. I did talk about GitHub and some version control stuff in a basic way, but you guys should have experience with GitHub by now, I'm assuming, and know how to use it. But that is one of the labs that's due. I'll just show you guys. Lab 2, brainstorming. This was the brainstorm document. I think I graded these already. You guys should have some marks back for that, as well as for Lab 1. And then I'm going to get you guys to be working on, I believe it's in assignments and tests. Assignment 1 is already underway, and it is due, I believe, tonight. Assignment 1. So you guys should already be working on this. This was the, there's a brief here for the video if you want to take a look at it. Also, the description of the assignment is here. Basically, I'm looking for this. All right. And it's your business pitch kind of thing. You've got your name, slogan, logo, description, use case diagrams, the technologies you're going to use, what you hope to learn from doing it, existing systems, target audience, and how you hope to reach them. So just make sure you read through all these and answer them. Oh, you got your hand up. Yes, Nita Paran. Sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah. For the lab, what should we submit in the link? Because we already created the GitHub and everything, completed the README file. So what should we submit in the link?
Oh, like where do you submit it, or?
No. What should we submit there? Like,
are you looking at week 2 lab?
3
or week 3 lab? So I'm getting there. I haven't talked about this one yet. I'll talk about lab 3 in a little bit, and lab 4 for today, but I'm just covering last week.
The one due today.
Which one are you looking at? This one?
Maybe the previous one, I guess, maybe.
That one's already
this one.
created from week 2.
This one, the one you just opened.
Oh, I haven't talked about this yet. You'll see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't talked about that yet.
That's also due today, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I can change that just depending on how we go in class. But anyway, so that's a little bit of a recap from last week. Most of it was doing this work and brainstorming your apps. So yeah, keep up the good work there, guys, and that'll kind of play into what we do for lab 3 today. So what I want you guys to do for lab 3 today, if we take a look at this, I'll talk about this now just because we're on the topic. The due date currently is the 24th, and you guys pretty much look like you're done it for the most part. So complete your brainstorming board on Miro. Check, you guys are done. Complete the activity diagram and the use case diagram. So check, use case diagram, activity diagrams. So that's done. Create a public repo on GitHub. So I've been invited to a bunch of repositories on GitHub already. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, most of you guys have done this so far.
Yes.
And then, let me see. You're going to edit your README file. So what I'm looking for, I have an example of it, I think, posted right here. Look at this, go back one. Oh, maybe it's in the previous week. In week 2, there's an example on my GitHub called Brainstorming 2021. It's linked right here. GitHub example of inception phase, lab 3 next week. So I can move this actually, because that makes sense for it to be in the week 3 folder. But basically, if you want to take a look at that, that's an example of what I'm looking for the submission idea. But if you go to my GitHub, it'll look like this. So I have all my code here, but don't worry about that. What you're going to do, and all you need to submit, like it says, is the readme.md file, so markdown language, and add a screen capture of the board you made in Miro, submit your changes and commit and push that to GitHub. And then you can create a branch, add your UML images to the README, and then merge your branch to your master branch. Add me as a collaborator, and for steps to see that, there is an image in the announcements that I sent out for how to add me as a collaborator. All images on GitHub should be stored in a separate images folder. So let's take a look at what I've got here. I've got an images folder. Inside my images folder, I've got my activity diagram.png. Okay. And we can see if I scroll down through here, so I've got my Miro board, I've got an intro, I've got how I'm going to use GitHub and version control. I've got a link to my Miro board here, and then I talk about my inception phase. After that, I break down my UML diagrams, the use case for my budgeting app, and then I talk about the use case for my sales lead tracking app, and then I talk about my activity diagrams for the budgeting app and the sales lead tracking app. Cool. And then I gave you guys a little bit of templating for if you want to do some bold or italicized quotes, headings, lists, and then how to link an image. Okay, so that's markdown language. You can copy my README and then kind of fill in each thing. But basically, that is what I'm looking for lab 3. And if you do lab 3, you're pretty much done assignment 1 because assignment 1 is pretty much all the same information. And instead of me asking you for assignment 1 to submit it in a PDF, you can submit it in a PDF if you choose, but I will also accept all of this information on your GitHub in this format. So if you have your logo, your business name, your slogan, the description, your use case diagrams, the components in your project, the technologies and frameworks used, what you hope to learn from doing it, existing systems, what competitive advantage you're going to offer, links to the existing systems and who your competitors are, and then your target audience and how you intend to reach them, and then all your diagrams. If you have all of that on your GitHub, then you can submit that for assignment 1. I will accept a GitHub link or I will accept a PDF. It's up to you how to do that. But this is basically lab 3 and assignment 1. They kind of build into each other. So if you do this one, you're pretty much set up for assignment 1. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Cool. Let's see. Thumbs up.
Hello, Professor. I have
Yes.
a question.
Sure.
Yeah, so when you were talking about Lab 3, I am kind of confused. What do we need to upload? GitHub link? That's it?
Yeah. For lab 3, so all of this stuff should be on your GitHub link, and then you'll just put your GitHub link either in the comments or in a written submission up here. You can hit that and then put the link there. I'll see both, so I'll just click your
Oh,
GitHub link
oh,
and then
okay. Thank you.
yeah, perfect. And if you want for the assignment, you have options. So coming over to assignments and tests, you have options. When you click assignment 1, don't worry about assignment 2. I'll talk about that later. When you submit it, you can submit it in a PDF format and attach it here, or you can also do the same thing and have all of your assignment 1 stuff on the GitHub and do it all in one place there as well. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I'll accept both. I know in my assignment 1 it says you must submit in PDF or docx. You can ignore that. Okay, I've changed that. So, and the due date has also been changed. It's not this anymore. Actually, no, sorry. You guys have done assignment 1 already, right?
Yeah, we submitted it by the 20th, I think.
Yeah, sorry. I am backtracking here. Basically, your lab 3 is the same thing as your assignment 1 information, and you can translate them over there. But when I talk about assignment 2, sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Eventually, we want to migrate all of your assignments into what you're doing for your lab 3 GitHub. So assignment 2, I haven't talked about that yet with you guys, correct? I get my mobile app portfolio 1 and mobile app portfolio 2 stuff confused a little bit. So with assignment 2, it's basically going to be what we talk about today, which is your design. And you're going to be making your UX and UIs for your documents. And then you're going to be appending it onto your GitHub. So it'll be looking like you have this, and then at the end of it, you're going to have your wireframes and you're going to have your designs at the end appended onto it, okay? But we'll talk about that more in detail later after we talk about what wireframes are and all of that good stuff. Yes, okay. My bad. So basically the point of what weekly lab week 3 lab 3 is for you guys to get stuff on your GitHub so that you have it all in one place because, well, you'll see a little bit later in class why we want to do that. Okay, and then lab 4 will be our wireframes. Cool. So I'll get into the PowerPoint for today. If you haven't worked on your mural board yet, you can do that in the background while you listen, kind of thing, or if you want to just listen, then that's totally up to you. But we did our review on activity diagrams already, so I'll just jump straight into wireframes. Who knows what wireframe is, or has anyone used one before? If so, what have you used it for? Yeah, Sandeep, what's up?
Good afternoon, sir.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Sir, basically, I have concern over the assignment 1. I uploaded the unfinished version of my assignment, and there is no option to resubmit the assignment like in the previous one we had attempt 1, 2, 3, 10 we can, but the option is not enabled here.
Okay. Check here. Assignment 1 was due already on the 20th, right? So, or, sorry,
24th.
24th is today. Let me see if I can edit that. If you wanted to make a resubmission, it should be details, attempts. I'll look at your last graded attempt. Cool. As long as it's before the due date. I'll look at whatever the last graded or last submitted document is before the due date, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So you should be able to see a start new button, I think, beside that now.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. All right. Let's talk about this. So wireframes. Who's used wireframes before? Who knows what a wireframe is?
Yeah, it's kind of sketches before we do designing and like code the actual development kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Have you used them before?
I didn't use, but I got from UI UX guys.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Krupa, you have used them before. What have you used them before?
Yeah, I did one course this year actually. So we made a website. So for that, and also in my engineering, I used wireframes.
Okay, cool. So you guys must have used them before. Okay, you've used Adobe XD before? Which course was that in, Harshit? Was that for web stuff?
No, means it was for my job purpose. Basically, means we get a UI UX design from the designer. Means it shows all the flow and all the buttons and everything is connected. So like basically you can have like if it is a login page, then you can see that login page will contain email address and password field and login button, reset password. So basically you will get a rough idea that how the design will look and will it be effective, what would be the color scheme and everything. So means it would be like before it is going live, you can see it virtually, that how it will look and how it will feel.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. Great description. Thanks for that. And Daksh, you used Atlassian Wireframe before.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And was that for work or for school, an assignment?
Yeah. Like my job experience in the last the cybersecurity project, we are working with the US team. So they designed the wireframe and we built the front end for the web application.
Okay, for web application. Cool. So you got it from like a UX team or a UI team, and then you built what they gave you into a reality.
Yes, yes.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So basically, and we'll talk a little bit about UX versus UI, and the difference there between user experience and user interface. But it sounds like you guys have used it before, so I won't go too in depth here. But basically, moving on from our inception phase, we now enter the design phase. Okay, so we have come up with our idea, we've pitched it to our investors, and now that we've brainstormed and we have all our competition and everything laid out, we can start designing. But you don't want to get super nitty gritty in the details. You want to get some rough sketches done and not worry about like what colors, what typography or font you're going to use. You want to know just basically the placeholders of everything on the page to get an idea of the flow of your application. So that's where user experience comes in. And that's basically, oh, sorry, I thought I saw something in the chat there. That's basically like the real estate of the screen and what's going to take up what space. So for wireframes, it's a two-dimensional illustration of a page's interface, and it focuses more on space allocation than the actual font styling, color, and graphics. And it's also on content functionality and intended behaviors. So here we can see an example of a login screen, but there's no actual image there. They don't really care about the font. They just want to know, okay, our button's going to be at the bottom. This is going to be what's prioritized. The user's going to see it in this order, and then this is what the timeline will look like, right? So the purpose of the wireframe is connecting the architecture to the visual design by showing paths between the pages and the actions. So if I click this button, what page will show up? If I click this screen, you know, what can I expect to happen? And it's trying to make consistent ways for displaying particular types of info. We're using it in the early or on in the process, basically to establish a basic structure of a page before the visual design and content is added, because that stuff takes a lot of time. And if you can figure out all these higher level details, then you can start getting down to the nitty gritty. If you go right down into the nitty gritty, like font and all of this stuff, you'll never finish your stuff without having sort of a guideline to follow. It also is really useful if you guys have stakeholders or a team or something like that to get approval before getting into that creative process, so that it can kind of create, you know, a bridge between like the stakeholders, the design team, and the development team, and they can kind of get an idea of where we're headed without actually having to have everything fully designed. Yeah, so it takes place early on in the project lifecycle. A great advantage is it provides an early visual that you can use to review with the client, and then yeah, you can see if it meets their business needs. So how do we create one? So a couple key rules. We don't use colors. We keep it black and white and gray tones to communicate the difference between objects. you don't use images. You just use a placeholder with an X in it, with a rectangular box, just to show the dimensions that you want, but not necessarily the actual image you want to show there. And then just use a generic font. You're not trying to get into any of that detailing yet, okay? Just headers versus text and all that kind of good stuff. A couple key things to keep in mind here, depending on if you're deciding to design for Apple or for Android. I'm going to open these two links. Is the human interface guidelines by each of those companies. So Apple has their own. So as an Apple developer, most popular Apple apps have a similar look and feel to them. And that's because they follow these design principles by Apple. So you can go to developer.apple.com and look up some of these, user control elements or interface essentials, and they'll tell you kind of what they expect for, status bars or views or controls. So if I come to visual design and color, they give me a little bit of what they're expecting, to use color in your app and how they want you to use it. And then if you scroll down, you can see a little bit more the details about what they're talking about with color. I like the Android one a little bit more. They talk about image size and resolution for Apple, and which device you should use the scale factor of this on. And for like pickers, like date pickers and stuff like that, they talk about how to make it using compact date pickers. They just give you a little bit of helpful advice and guidelines for that. The Android one's a little bit more intuitive. So we're gonna design and quality, material design guidelines. Cool. So it brings you to material.io/design, which is made by the same people who make Android. And we can look here for topography, for example, understanding typography. They talk about all of this good stuff if you want to understand, if you want to really get into it, and why to choose certain fonts, how to measure the fonts, the cap height, all of that stuff. In terms of like animations and stuff, they talk about, the different types of animations that we can use, having hierarchy in your animations so that list view item opens up into the email. They talk about the motion system, so Android versus Apple and web and using it on Flutter. They talk about speed of animations, so they give you do's and don'ts for what you should do. So if you're watching here, they animate going into making a new post, and then they're saying avoid transitions that are too fast for users to follow. So like this, it's just too quick and it's a little bit confusing. So I do like the Android one because they give you the do's and the don'ts and what to kind of aim for. They tell you 250 to 300 milliseconds is a doable animation time. And like they talk about small animations, medium animations. So these are just guidelines to follow. You don't have to necessarily do these, but if you want your app to feel like a native app made by one of those companies, then there you go. Another thing to keep in mind with your mockups or your wireframes is basically the size of the device you're designing it for. So iPhone versus iPad, right? You're going to have a lot more room on an iPad, so it might not look the exact same. You might have 2 rows of columns or something because you have more space on your screen. Once the UX determined, then the next step is going into the UI, which is actually deciding your color, your graphic, and finalizing some of those decisions. And you can hire people or outsource this, but for our purposes, we'll be doing this all ourselves. So a site I like to use, but you guys have mentioned a couple here, so we can take a look at them, is NinjaMock. So I'll go to my browser here. We'll type in Adobe XD. We'll take a look at that. Another one is Figma, and NinjaMock, and Atlassian. And we can decide which ones you like. I'm not going to make you use a particular one. So Balsamic is the one from Atlassian. NinjaMock is a free online website. Figma, you have to sign up for, and then Adobe XD, I think we can download that. you guys might get it free as students. I'm not sure. But it is definitely a really powerful tool. Do you guys get it? Do you guys know if you get this one for free instead of having to start the free trial?
I'm not sure. Like we asked the other
there's some
professor.
community edition.
And what did they say?
Yeah, I just got it. It have some limitations like you have no rights to share it with more than 2 people, something like that. But I think it's free for. Other than that, we got a lot of other features.
Okay, but it's free for more than 30 days
Yes,
if you
yes,
sign in with your student email?
yes, yes. It's not via the start free trial. I just got a link from one of the YouTube videos and I just followed his steps.
Yeah, okay, because they would
It's
want to
not
charge 13 bucks a
like
month.
this one. Not the
Oh, so
7 day free trial.
you didn't get it through Georgian?
No. Not via
Oh, okay.
Georgia. It's
Okay.
something like community edition. I just forgot what the edition's name was.
You guys should be able to get free software though through Georgian called On the Hub. It's this visual arts web store, and if you sign in, have you guys seen this before?
No.
No. Looks cool though.
Try signing in. I don't know if it'll let me using your Office 365. So just Google Georgian College on the Hub. Maybe you have to sign in with your Office 365 account. Let's see. Start shopping. So, okay. This is for students and faculty in the TVA program, which is you guys, Technology and Visual Arts. Just hit start shopping, and you should be able to get some stuff for free, I believe. So, like Norton 360 Deluxe, or like on significant discounts. So, like this is normally 114. You can get it for 1 year, 3 devices for 36. I'm surprised no one's shown you this. Can you log in? Just let me know if you can log in first of all. You should be able to. Adobe XD is in here. Photo, video, and design. It's not. It's an Office. So you can get all of the Microsoft Office suite and stuff like that. I know that's usually in here. AWS stuff, PowerShell, Python basics. I'll just search for it. Adobe. Adobe stuff do they have? Let me know if you guys can get in. CC Design Masterclass. That's okay. That's just a training bundle, but some of it should be free. Adobe XD. Oh, I don't see it. Okay. Well, if you guys want, I can try seeing if there is a way for us to get that for free. But for now, we'll just look at some of these other examples. So NinjaMock, if you want, you can sign in through Google or your email. But basically, it's pretty simple workflow. It's not too complex, but it gets you up and running pretty quick. So you can have workspaces, and then here's an example of like an app. So I've already created this, but basically you would just do a new page in the bottom here. You can add portrait, or you can add landscape. You can add user templates. So like if I wanted a Google Drive page or something, that's made by ninjamock.com, but you could also make your own. You can add landscape view, but basically if I wanted to have like my splash screen with a sign-on page, you just bring over like a placeholder image, and you can make it whatever size you want and align it however you want. You can use the keyboard to delete stuff. And then, if you want a placeholder keyboard or login screen, this is for a budget tracking app. So I added some pie charts and labels and all of that good stuff. Then you can do that. You can also hit preview, and you should be able to, if you have the project set up, you can add like links. So if you click this button, if I right click it, on the right hand side here, all the properties for a specific thing are here. So you can change the width, the height, all of that. But if I want this button to be linked to something, you can see page linking. I can click the pages and I've linked it to overview. So if I hit preview on this page and I hit login, there's a blue button there, and then it will bring me to overview. So it basically gives you, a very rough idea of what your app would feel and look like with the flow and the user experience. So there's this option, if you want a list, etc. And you can go through here. They've got checkboxes, they've got keyboards, they've got all of these kind of predefined phone user interface elements. So data tables, if you want maps, you can see maps, different shapes if you want to make your own thing, and charts and all that. So pretty simple to start with, but it can still be used to get you up and running pretty quick. What was the other one you used? Balsamic wireframes. Should be able to try this one. Free for 30 days. Sheesh. So for the purposes of our what we're doing, 30 days would be enough, but I wanted to try to find some stuff that you didn't have to actually pay for. So generate license. So through Atlassian, my license. Has anyone used it? Who was using Daksh? You used it before, yes. So it must have been Balsamic that you used.
Yes, I did, but I only view the created wireframes only. I didn't create one.
I see. Yeah, because you had the other team do it.
Yes.
Okay. Download to your local system. Open this and log in. I downloaded it, but it's not letting me open it. It doesn't recognize the .obr file. Interesting. Let me know if you guys can get this working on yours. The one we want is Balsamic. Yeah, that's what I did. Try this one. It's downloaded now. See if that works. All right. Well, we'll have to figure that out. But Figma is another good one. That's an online one. So we can sign up for Figma. We can try that through Google. software development for teaching or taking a class. Cool. Count. Coolio. So with Figma, I think it's a little bit more powerful than Ninja. Design file. We can make a little wireframe here. Similar idea, but a little bit more tools at the ready. So bar. So it's actually kind of like a proper desktop application. Now this, I actually have not used this before. So we'd have to play around with it for a little bit, but it looks pretty cool. Okay, so we can get an iPhone frame. There we go. We can actually design it for the iPhone. Maybe it's compressed. Oh, maybe. Yeah, we can try that. There's no option to uncompress it though. I just don't know what file they want me to open it with. So we can add some text and stuff just like that pretty easily. And they actually have alignment grids, which is kind of cool. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, you can make like buttons and stuff. Make an image holder. Actually upload images, that's cool. Neat. And you can actually use some of the constraints and stuff. So we can stick with these two for these options right now, but I want to see if I can get you guys access to Adobe XD because it's really cool if we can get there. Because some of the stuff you can create with it is really really cool looking. But you can see some similar stuff to Figma as well. So you know, alrighty. See what I want to do. So we talked about activity diagrams. Oh yes, another one. Here's another one, draw.io. So apps.diagrams.net, you can use this to make your UMLs, but you can also use it to make wireframes for your phones and stuff. So you can use this to put together similar kind of thing. Where's the other one? Okay, cool. So picking one of the ones that we have so far, guys. Sorry about that. I was just trying to figure out if I could get Adobe XD or this Atlassian one working. But so either using Ninjamock or Figma or Draw.io, I want you guys to just take a little bit of time and practice making one of your screens in one of these, making a wireframe from one of your use cases. So if you were to look at your use cases, gen my model, which is where my use cases are. Basically, you're going to take one of those use cases and make a screen out of it. So if you had a use case that said like withdraw money, what would your withdraw screen look like? Okay, that's your link there. Try it, Jithan. Right, so if this was, just for example, like our ATM system, I want you guys to try for your app, just to get a little bit of practice, making a wireframe and getting comfortable with either Ninjamock or Balsamic or Figma or whatever system you're using. Okay, so we've got this link, XD get started. Let's try it. But it's creating cloud, so I don't know. Sign in. Might just be a trial version. We'll see. Anyways, so you've got use cases, right? All of these. So like check balance. What does the check balance screen look like? What is the withdraw? Try not to do a login, okay? So I'll give you guys like 10 minutes. We're gonna do a little bit of experimenting. So, you know, if I had my check balance screen, that'll be the one I choose to do. And don't do it necessarily for a bank system. Do it for the app that you actually designed, right? So for, if I go to the Miro board, for Tom, take a look at some of your use cases that you've got. If your UML's on here. Sheesh, there we go. I'm zoomed in. All right, cool. So for Tom, you've got sharing results, inputting stats, viewing results, deleting, editing, and viewing a poker glossary. So what would a wireframe of one of these look like if you were to pick one of those? And then you can just try to design that with either NinjaMock or if you can get the Adobe one working. So same thing here with the promo hub. You know, just pick one and just try to get a little bit of experience making that. I'm going to try to get this set up here, this Adobe. See if it gets me to sign in. Let's see if that worked. Start installing. Cool. I'll get that working. I'm going to give you guys a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 3:55, and then we'll get some practice actually designing some of these wireframes. So if you want to get your hands dirty right now, trying to do it with one of your use cases, and then we can kind of walk through and do some together. But try to do one for your system, and then see if this actually gets working here on my system in a sec. Cool. So I'll be back. I'll pause the recording for now. Back here. All right, welcome back. The recording has started, and I'll share my screen here. I got Adobe XD installed, so this should be helpful to you guys. And if you want to install it while we're doing this and then follow along, then totally go for that. I would encourage you to do that. But feel free to stop me if you have any questions during this. Cool. So it did work, which is sweet. So here's the home screen in Adobe XD, and this is probably the most powerful tool that we can use for wireframes and actually prototyping them and testing them out. And it runs on your desktop, so it's not in the web. So basically, we can see to start a new document here, you know, you choose between a web app, custom size, or actually like a predefined phone. So if you want to do for the Google Pixel or for iPhone, etc., you can choose those. So if I want to do it for the Google Pixel and I click that, it opens up a new project here, which I can just maximize here. Cool. And then it gives me, this is what's called an artboard. And I can click it if I have it selected here, artboard, or click A. I can click that multiple times here to click multiple artboards. And you can see when I hover my mouse, it will actually align the artboards. Cool. So I'll just make 3 for now. And then we can see these in document assets. Click them. There's a name up here to say login screen. This one to be register and then home screen or something like that. Just double click and then type what we want our screen to be. Cool. Is everybody following along? I just want to make sure my mic's not muted or something. You guys can see this? Awesome. Great. And Jathin, whoever it was that used this before, if you want to pop in at any point, if there's something that you wanted to say, because you've used this before too, then totally feel free. Okay, so cool. We've got our 3 screens here, and they're blank at the moment, and we can switch between our layers down here at the bottom. We can see those 3 screens that we just made: home, register, and login. Okay, and if I click them, it changes it here as well. Let's go back to here. Okay, so if I want to add some text, I can click the text tool. Before I do that, though, I'm going to select my login screen, and down here, you can see if you want the grid turned on, which we do. You can click grid, and then you can actually just tell it how many grids you want. So if you want more than 4, you can make this 6. You can change the gutter width and all of that stuff. And then what that will do is, as you drag and make a text box, so if I'm going to make a text box, it kind of snaps to those grids, right? So I might make a text that says login. And you can use all of the properties on the right here, similar to NinjaMock. When I have something selected, all the properties are on the right-hand side. And I can center my text, and then I can make it a bigger font just by clicking in here and doing, I don't know, 45. Change that to actually selected. There we go. It's kind of like Photoshop that way. All right. So there's our font, our text. And what's kind of cool here, let's say we were to make a button to log in, and I don't want my button to be as wide. So it snaps there, and you can click this button here. So you have your shape, some text in it. Call this that. Okay. Text inside the button here. Center it like that. Change the text size to be 20. Font or the actual text to say login. This should be our app name. So that will be called Spender for my budgeting app. Okay. All right. Now here's what's kind of cool, right? So we've got our button with our login text. And what you can do on the right-hand side here, let me see if I can find it. Clicked. Is repeat grid at the very top. I was scrolled down. So you can do Control R, or you can just click this button, repeat grid, and say I know I need like 3 buttons. I need one for register, I need one for sign up, I need one for whatever. As I go down, you can see it just is going to duplicate those buttons, and it will duplicate them as much as I want. And you can go either direction. So you can go to the right as well if you want to do that. But for us, 3 buttons, and just like that, I've got them, and I can change the text once they are made. So I can have one for a register, have one for a password or something. Cool. A little bit wider. You can see it's trying to help me align them as I do that. Cool. Another thing, if you wanted to make, say, a scrollable view, you can select, if we want these 2 to be maybe just the home page scrollable, what we can do is we can drag this down like that, and then you see a dashed line here. That's basically the fold mark, which means that as we preview this, if we were to preview the app with the little play button here in the top right, if I click that, it opens up this window, which is like our app for our pixel. And nothing is linked yet. Nothing will work in the prototype. But if I preview the home page, you can't tell. There's a little scroll bar here on the right, and there's nothing in there. But if I say make a gradient, like if I do fill, and I make this a gradient. Actually, better idea. Oops. Just add a shape here. Scroll, you'll be able to see. There you go. Now, if I preview this, you can see here's our app, and as I scroll down, it's actually in a scroll view, which is kind of cool. Okay. All right. Another thing we can do is say I make a header, okay, over here. Just drag this across. A header for my app. I can add it down in where libraries. Add it. So what happens? Okay. So I made two items. You can see I made a rectangle on both of these. If I add something or change something, it should update them in both. If I double click in here, this tool. If I double click in here and go like this, should change it for both, but I'm all over the place here. Anyways, so yeah, that's Adobe XD. We can get into it a little bit more, but basically, the basic things you're going to use for now are these shapes to design your buttons, your text tools. You can center it. All the properties here are on the right, and you can use these align tools. If you hold shift or something and you wanted to align multiple objects, then you can click align vertically or align justified like that, or align on the left if you want to do that. And if you want to make sure it's actually centered. And if you want to ungroup something, then I can ungroup it as well, but that happens when you do the repeat grid. All of these are pretty self-explanatory, like opacity, etc. The view changes when you go into the prototype mode. What you can do, similar to NinjaMock, like how you could create a link to another page, is you can drag this arrow over from the login to, say, the home. And if I had a user click login, then you can make multiple pathways, but we can have this login page redirect us to the home page. So if we were making Instagram or something like that, we'd have like an image that a user would see, some buttons underneath. So then if we actually go into our home page or our login page and we hit preview and I hit this button, like I actually click on it, it'll bring me to that page, which is kind of similar to what NinjaMock was like. Cool. The nice thing that NinjaMock doesn't really let you do is the scroll. So this actually will let you do that scroll window. What's cool too is if you really get into this program, you can do like adding comments, and there's a lot of more powerful tools that you can actually end up using. But for now, we'll just stick with kind of the basics and do some of the design and wireframes before we even get into adding color and any of that stuff. Cool. Did anybody get this actually downloaded?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. And it's working for you? You can actually play
Yeah,
around
it's
with it a little
working.
bit?
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
working.
Okay, sweet. Sweet. Cool. It's frozen here a little bit. Second. It's not letting me click anything. Well, it's not happy. I have to force quit it here. Sorry, guys. Task. Here. Some other cool stuff you can do up here in File, Get UI Kits, wireframes. You can look at some stuff in their gallery of like templates or wireframe kits for, say, your mobile. So if you actually download some of these, kind of get started with like some templates for like, say, some wireframe for charting or creating groups or list views and stuff like that, making main title pages. So that's obviously a helpful tool, but if you do use this for your project, please, please, please modify it enough so that it's actually your own work and it's not just the template. Like actually make it, your own by adding your actual app interface and changing things around so it's not just the default whatever. Cool. XD. What else did I want to show you guys? See, once we get a bit more, so we can get into the prototyping stuff. But for now, just kind of play around with the basic stuff. So I want you guys now, you can do this now or later in Blackboard. For your lab 4, create a wireframe and then take a screenshot of it and upload it based on one of your use case diagrams. So if you already did it in NinjaMock or Figma, or if you want to use Adobe XD, create a wireframe based off of one of your use cases and then just submit it in here. I believe the due date for this is, there's no due date, but it's just an in-class lab. So it's worth 10 marks, and if you do it now, then you're done. Cool. Any questions about wireframes at all, guys? There's also another app on Mac called Sketch. That's pretty cool. If you're on Mac, you can do that. Cool, no questions. Awesome. Okay. All right, next thing I want to talk about is, before we get into assignment 2, coming here to our Trello, or not Trello, Miro board. Two, three, five, six. So, how do you guys feel? Do you need to make a wireframe only for the UML in Miro? What do you mean, Sandeep?
Basically, sir, for the topic we have used for the final application in this program, like I have published the UML for the application Fight for Fitness, that is the project in this program. Do I need to make wireframes for that UMLs?
So we're for like the in-class lab, you can just make a wireframe of, like for lab 4, just make a wireframe for one of your use cases. So just like a really basic, like whatever, one of the screens for your main app.
Okay, for
You don't have to do it for all of them. Just do one.
Okay, login or the register screen maybe, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just to show me that you actually figured out how to get the program working, and I know you're not having any issues with it, and you know how to do the basic rules with like keeping everything black and white and no images and using placeholders and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Cool. Okay, so what I was going to say is, I know you guys have all done awesome work here, but what I wanted to do for you guys now is break you guys into groups. So some of these projects might not actually end up getting used, and you can tell me how you feel about that. If you really, really, really want to do it on your own, then you can. But I want to do you guys in 2 groups of 4 and 1 group of 5. And then in your groups, what you're going to do is, for this semester and for next semester, work on basically developing this app and doing all of the work together. And you guys would have to discuss amongst yourselves which board you want to use, and then you'll get added to that GitHub as a collaborator. And then what we're going to talk about is Scrum, sprints, agile methodology, and then working as a team in a realistic development environment where you do weekly sprints. You meet with me as a stakeholder, and then we do things from storyboards and get our user stories done on time in an agile environment. I don't know if anyone's really strongly against that because they're really excited about their idea and it's not going to be the one that you guys do in your group. I guess tell me now before we go forward. But if you guys like the idea of doing groups, what I'll do is I'll do a breakout room, and you guys are going to do a little bit of a discussion where you figure out which one you actually want to use. So you'll talk about your ideas. You'll go to each other's boards and look at what you guys have got to work with so far in terms of research and use cases and UML mockups. And the 4 that aren't done, 1, 2, 3, 4, those people will be a group and they'll have to figure out what project that they want to do. But for you guys who are done, you'll basically be grouped together and take a look at what you actually want to make. As a team, as a development team, and you guys will be teamed for the 2 semesters. How do you guys feel about that? Or would you prefer to do it individually? Any feedback? Nobody? You guys are easy? Hey, wait. Oh, here. I'm seeing the chat just now. Groups would be great. Yeah, we do small groups. Teams is great. Groups, teams, you guess. You're not sure, Krupa? Individual is good. Okay. ONW group work 1 app, 2 members. So I was thinking 4, 4, and 5. because 2 wouldn't really work, but yeah, I would want to do 4, 4, and 5 so the groups are even in size so you guys can create similar apps. Basically, if you do it by yourself, it's going to be a ton of work, and you probably will end up with an app that's like slightly finished, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that's just prototype. If you do it in a group, you'll have a fully functional app, everything's working, and you'll get it on the App Store. And yeah, one group will develop one app. Teamwork. Yes, teamwork makes the dream work. So basically, I wanted to get you guys to do this so that you guys could all be part of the research phase, and then you guys had options to actually work out fleshed out ideas. Class 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Thing is, if I do groups of 3, 1, 2, and that'd be a lot of work for 2 people. If I do groups of 4, better. Especially since we want to do. So I'm working based off of my mobile app 2 guys who have done it already in groups of 4. They've had a really great time with it, developing their work and their design phase and all of that stuff, and they've done some awesome stuff as groups of 4. You still have to pull your weight, definitely, but you can get a lot more done in group of 4. So that's kind of where I'm basing this off of. And then because we're 13, it's an odd number, then one group of 5. Normally, I would love to do this as a group of 10, which we don't really have the size for that, but so I'll just kind of shrink it down and do mini groups of 4. Normally you'd do it in groups of 10, so you'd have, like, if we had 30 students, you'd do 3 groups of 10, but cool. Okay, so do you guys want me to divide you in groups, or would you prefer to put yourselves in groups? I just don't think it necessarily is fair for the people who have not done their boards at all to be put in groups that have boards that are done. That makes sense. So the people who haven't done their Miro boards, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, so I would probably group them together so that they can come up with their own ideas, whereas you guys who have them finished already can start having some of those discussions about what app you actually want to work on. So do you guys know who you'd want to be with? I'll start making some labels here. Your groups and your other subjects? Yeah, but then, yeah, I want to stay away from that just because what will happen then is, just do everything, every single thing together. This is a different course, or this is a different, this is different than your other subjects, this course mobile app, so. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, okay, so. I can assign the groups if people don't really mind, or you guys can speak up if you guys do have people that you want to be with. But groups of 4, 2 groups of 4 and 1 group of 5. So I'm gonna put didn't do their boards yet. Stock, Akshay, Sanket, and Zalek. You guys would be together, a group of 4. then make the team colors on the side. All right, let me just get this figured out here for a sec. Let me see if I got this right. So we've got Stack, Akshay, Light Blue, Sanket, and Zalik. You guys will be the yellow group. Tom, Nithaparan, Rahul, and Harshit. 13, so what, 4, 8. Let's count this. I know Daksh 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it is 14. Okay, so
14.
okay, Daksh, you'll be red. Cool. Okay, so I mean, hopefully that's good with everyone. If is everyone good with those groups? So Tom, Nithaparan, Rahul, Harshit, and Daksh, and then we have Muskat, Akshay, Sankit, and Zalik, and then Jithan, Ritu, Sandeep, Krupa, and Daljit. Does that make sense? Would those be good groups? This is for this semester for 4 months, and then next semester for 4 months. Yeah, if you have anything, you can send me emails. I can try to work them out. But what I want to do for you guys now, I'm going to create breakout rooms in WebEx, and then I'll kind of hop around in them. I'm going to create them in this order. So, sheesh, how do I do this more? Breakouts. I'm going to have to stop sharing for a second. What you're going to do, though, before I stop sharing, is you're going to go to your board. So Tom, your group, Tom, Nithaparan, Rahul, Harshit, and Daksh. Basically, you guys are going to each kind of give an overview of your board, you know, like a really quick breakdown of what you wanted to make, and then give a breakdown of what you wanted to make. And you guys are going to talk about which project you want to do. And you're going to have to come up with one final idea. And if it changes or if it's a combo of something and it's like a promo poker something, then that'd be cool too. And this is just to give you guys good ideas to work from and help you build a project that you want to work on for the 8 months. Harshit, can you create groups based on what language you want to work on? So like Kotlin, Android Studio.
There are three people who want to work on iOS. So like Nithaparan, he is working on iOS. Me and Daksh, we both will be working on iOS as well. So basically means if the people with same group, like if I think Tom, he would like to work on some other language like Android or Flutter, I think so.
Okay, yeah, we can do that too if people are good with that.
Yes.
Okay.
So in that way means we won't have that barrier. Like means I don't know how to I don't know Flutter. So for me it would be an overhead work. Like I need to learn Flutter and then other things. Yes.
Okay,
so
so
means
who?
I won't be a much more contributing member in that way.
So you wanted to do iOS, Harshit?
Yes.
Okay, so I will make iOS blue. We'll make that. We'll change this. So Harshit wanted to do iOS. Who else said iOS?
Daksh.
Nithaparan, did you want to do iOS?
Yeah.
Okay. Daksh wanted to do iOS. Is that right, Daksh? Yeah. You think we should make groups by own if you would allow us? Yeah, no, I did say if you guys wanted to make your groups on your own, but no one said anything, so I started making them. If you want to make your own groups, then I need a group of 5, 5, and 4. But I just started making them because no one said anything. Who else wanted to do iOS? Who's this color? Harshit, that's you. cross-platform Flutter, Node, Java, Android, MySQL, front-end Android, back-end Mongo, native, Java, Android, and Swift. Oh, that's like everything. Is that light gray? Did you want to do? Who's light gray? Aljit, did you want to do iOS or did you want to do Android? And then also this one is iOS. Dark gray. Dax, I want to do it. Okay. One more person for iOS? Or two more people for iOS? Daljit, did you want to do iOS? You want to do both? Okay. I'll put you in the iOS group. Cool with that. These are okay. Well, you guys can make your own groups as well if you want to. I don't need to make your groups for you, but this can just be an idea for you guys to start off with Android. This was Android. Changing the colors all over on me now. I'm assuming you guys are all Android if you're not iOS. 2, 3, 4, 5. Group would be 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. Unless one more person wanted to go iOS. But you don't have to do these groups. Like if you guys can, let's see. Do you guys want to make your own groups, or do you guys want me to make these groups? Are you good with these groups? In the red group. Go with okay. 2, 3, 5, 6. And then there's 6, and then there's only 4 yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4. If your group is 6, then I would expect more stuff to be done, just so you guys know. But if there's anyone from red that wants to go yellow or blue, then that would be awesome. Does anyone want to switch into a different group? Tom is good with this group personally.
I will go to iOS if it's okay with them.
I don't know who's talking.
Akshay. Sorry.
Akshay. Akshay wants to go to iOS?
Yeah, because I'm in the red.
Oh wait, where are you? You're in the red. No, I have you on yellow.
Oh, okay.
I need someone from the red group to move. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, well, I think here. Can't do 6, 4, and 4. It would be better if it was 5, 5, and 4. 2, 3. Let me take a look at the languages again. Jithan, Ritu. So starting from. So you want to do cross-platform Flutter. Okay. Java, Android Studio. Front-end Android Studio. That's good. Cross-platform React. Those are similar languages. Java, Android, and Swift. Okay, so then whoops. This one. All right, well, we can do 6 and 4 and 4, but yeah, you guys can make your own groups, but I'll do breakout rooms. I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to do breakout rooms here. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time, regular session assignments. I'm going to assign the breakouts accordingly. So for breakout room 1, that'll be team red. And I will assign, let's see, we've got Tom, we've got Raul, we've got Jithan, Ritu, Krupa. Is Krupa here? Krupa, there you are. Awesome. And then for team blue, assign Fran, Harshit, Sanket, is he here? Sorry, Nithpran, Harshit, Daljit, and Daksh. Okay. And then for Team Yellow, we'll assign Akshay, Sandeep, you guys are the only ones here, and then Zalek and Stek would also be in your team. Cool. All right, so I'll start the breakout sessions. Any questions before I break out? I'm going to kind of join in and listen in on your conversations as you guys go, but you guys have to figure out, look at your boards and talk about, each person can take a turn and give a breakdown on what their idea was and what their app would look like, and then you guys can kind of decide what you guys want to create over the next 8 months. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. We'll start the breakout sessions, and then we can figure this out. If the groups really aren't working out, or you guys can't figure out what you guys want to do, then we can try to redo something. But I think everyone is pretty much happy with this. Yes? Okay. I will start it, and then you'll see me jump in, jump out. If you guys have questions, you can. I'll be in the 4th breakout room, so you can just message me, and I'll pop you in or out or whatever. Okay. So have some good discussion, and hopefully you guys can come up with one solid idea out of this that we'll start doing assignment 2. Basically, assignment 2 will be everyone doing one of the wireframes for your guys' decided project, and then submitting it as you guys are all collaborators on the same GitHub. Cool. Which we'll get into more after you guys do this. So good luck with your discussions. I'll be in and out of the rooms. All right, did that work? All right, I'm going to move Ritu. There you go. Daljit and Sandeep will move. All right, Daljit, did yours work? Oh, there we go. I was muted. All right, the breakout sessions are ending. People should be joining back.
I think some people must have left the meeting, not the session.
I think a couple of people did, unfortunately, which will just make, team collaboration a little bit more difficult if they're not using the in-class time, but that's up to them, I guess. Cool. Seconds, here we go. So yeah, we'll just discuss due dates, assignment 2, how that'll work, and then awesome. Okay, everybody's back. Cool. Everybody can hear me? Yes, sweet. Okay, so we're going to discuss, like I was just saying to one of the groups, we're going to discuss the timeline for this, so for making that final decision, and then I'm going to schedule a pitch meeting for each of your guys' development teams to meet with me and then give me your idea, and then I can give you feedback on whether or not it's kind of enough or if there needs to be a little bit more to your idea in terms of, a scope of 8 months, right? So we're going to try to make a project from start to finish in an agile environment, and we're going to talk about what that means next week, what agile environment means, and what sprints are, and what a Scrum Master is, all of that good stuff. But before we do that, and before those pitch meetings are scheduled, I want to get a bit of feedback from you guys. What do you think is an appropriate timeline? How long do you think you guys need to make that decision? I understand some people for the groups aren't here today. So, for example, Akshay, your group, I mean, you're all by yourself, unfortunately, for today. So you're going to have to get a meeting outside of class with them and talk about what you guys want. But how long do you guys think, or how close are you guys to making that decision? End of the weekend? Yeah, end of the weekend. Till tomorrow night. Yeah, so you guys will make that decision. Yeah, cool. Okay, awesome. Does that sound good with you guys? Team Blue, I believe it was us. We were talking about it. Nitha Puran, Harshit, Daljit, and Daksh. Maybe you guys can meet up with I think it was Daljit who didn't have his mic working, and then he can give you his pitch before the end of the weekend, and then you guys can kind of decide which project you guys want to all work on as one group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's aim for that. And then, yeah, we can just do the end of the weekend. And if you're not available, well, yeah. So yes, if you haven't done assignment 1, please do it because it was already due, but there was a bit of a mismatch with the label and then the actual due date. So I will accept it up until tonight if you haven't done assignment 1 yet. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I'll share my screen and talk about assignment 2 now. So we have our groups. We're going to talk about what agile environments are and using the agile methodology. Just quick show of like thumbs up, thumbs down. Who has used or heard of agile methodology before? Thumbs down. Thumbs up. Down. We got 2 and 1. Thumbs down. Okay. So we'll talk about that next week. So don't worry about it too much for now. But assignment 2 is now available, and I made the due date Monday, October 4th. So you have like a week and a half, and I can change this a little bit if you guys need a bit more time. But basically, what I want you guys to do, and this is kind of going to be your homework for the weekend, and I'll check in with you guys next week because it should be done. Once you make your final decision, whoever you guys decide to build on that project, if there's already a GitHub repository with the README established and all the UML diagrams, then you're going to add the other team members as your collaborators to your GitHub project so that everything will be done in that workspace. Okay, so you're going to add them or their emails or their GitHub usernames so that it's the 4 of you guys on your GitHub link. So for example, here's an app that's being developed. Code, we can see they've got their Miro board and all of this stuff. This is from last semester with the wireframes and all of the documentation in it. And then they have their contributors. Everyone's added here, right? So the 4 teammates are there. So once you guys decide what you're going to do, you're going to use that GitHub and add those contributors. And then, okay, once you guys have your team all in place, I'm going to make some Microsoft Teams, you know, where you can share all of your stuff and where I'll meet you as a customer of your app. But assignment 2 is basically going to be, everything from here on out will be group work, but there's going to be individual elements to it. So for assignment 2, I'm looking for, now this was before when it was individual, so I am going to be looking for more than 5 screens, and I'll let you know. But I want to see your UX. So this is an example of what I'm looking for. I want to see your UX for a screen, and I want to see your UI for a screen, and a description about what that screen does. And I'm going to be looking for, let's see, it's appropriate. 10, 11. Let's say minimum 10 screens. So if you guys have a group of 5, each person's going to do the design for 2. And you're going to have to collaborate as a team to make sure that you're using the same colors or the same fonts or the same placement style design. And you guys are going to have to agree as a team what kind of design or font style or icons you guys want to use. So the point breakdowns are here, but 10 screens, you're going to get basically a point for each screen. For the UX, you're adhering to the guidelines of no color and placeholders for images. Uniform user experience through the 10 screens of your app. If you want to make more, then that's awesome. The more, the merrier. And then good use of screen real estate and white space. It's not cluttered. Okay, so basically it's designed well. And then for the UI, I'm looking for the UI to match the wireframes for each screen. So for this example, you know, we can see his sign-in screen has a logo, an email, password, and then a sign-in button. And if I come down to the UI design, there's a logo, a sign-in, an email, and then a password, and then the button. So basically, the UX matches the UI. There's uniform color. Okay, so you can see the light blue as a theme throughout here on the status bar. Uniform text font size, text sizing, subheadings across the 10 screens. Good use of icons, images, and graphics, and it looks like professionally designed. And good thought put into the overall UI and design of the 10 screens. So there's the example again. And if you want to show the constraints, you show the constraints as well. And then you'll basically upload these to your GitHub and basically add on to the README, if that makes sense. Any questions about that before we leave off? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Thumbs up. So that would be due, here's my calendar here. If you guys decide by this weekend, it'll give you like just over a week to work on the design element for that. Cool. You know what? I'll actually just make it due, I'll make it due the 8th. So you guys have 2 full weeks to work on it. Once you decide what your project is, we'll have a meeting next week about whether or not it's enough and what screens you're going to do your design for. I'll cover a little bit more advanced stuff with Adobe XD and wireframing, and then you'll have another week after that to submit the minimum 10 screens. Cool? So it'll be due October 8th. I'm going to put that in there. Does that sound good to everyone? Thumbs up. Any questions about the assignment before I pause the recording? Everybody understands? Cool. Cool. So I'll schedule meetings for next week. So make sure you guys get a hold of your teammates. If you weren't able to get a hold of them today, especially Akshay, you, who were all by yourself, get a hold of your teammates and come up with that idea and make sure it's a good enough idea that you have enough to work on for the rest of the semester. And those of you guys who couldn't hear from people today in your team, try to meet up with them again so you can get their ideas for what they want to do. And then you guys have to decide, battle it out, what you guys want to actually end up building. Yes, I saw a hand up. Harshit?
Yes. Sir, individually, how much amount of work we have to do in a group project means?
Individually, how much group for specifically for assignment 2?
Yes.
So you're going to put your, like the name who designed each screen. So if it's 10 screens and there's 5 of you, you do 2 each. And you guys have to agree as a group, like, hey, I'll do this screen and this screen. Who wants to do these other screens? So you guys are going to come up with a list together as a team, right? Next week in class or whatever. And then as you design them, or if you're on top of it and you want to do it before then, you guys are going to have to work as a group and determine, you know, who does what. I know with group projects, it can be kind of tricky because some people end up doing a bulk load of the work, but I'm going to do my best to meet with everyone and get individual feedback from people and check with each person, you know, privately, like, hey, how are you doing with the teamwork? Is everybody pulling their weight? How's your group doing? And then that's your chance to say to me, like, hey, actually, like, just 2 people did most of the work. And then I will assign the marks accordingly. So like for this example, for this assignment, you know, there's 10 screens. And if I get feedback from people that basically only 2 or 3 people did them, then those are going to be the people that get the marks for it. But other than that, if everyone's pulling their weight and doing it evenly, then you guys will all be getting the same grade, depending on the caliber of the work submitted. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So yeah, like for 10 screens, if your group is 4 people, then some people will make 2 screens, some people will make 3 screens, and then you can pick a group leader for now. So I don't know, whoever your group leader wants to be, but it will change once per month kind of thing, and we'll rotate group leaders. So your group leader will kind of be in charge for like that week or that set of couple weeks, whatever it is for the month, and they'll be the ones, you know, in charge of collecting and submitting the work on behalf of the group, and making sure that you know, you guys are doing the 10 screens and that they're matching, and be like, and feel free to collaborate as much as possible. I've done group like projects like this in the real world where we actually had a team of 10 developers. And the more you collaborate, the more fun it is because you're actually working together and you have fun with programming, and you can build something really, really cool. So, you know, there's power in numbers and working as a team. So please, please, please collaborate on this because you will only be benefiting yourself and each other if you guys collaborate as much as possible. Cool. I think that's it for the assignment brief. You can download it there in the assignments folder. Finished lab 3 and 4 today. So submitting the wireframe for in class, and then also make sure your GitHub README, you add me as a collaborator to that. Cool. Any questions?
Yeah, sorry. We were just wondering if a decision's been made about Sandeep, if we're staying with 6 or if we're going to be 5.
I'll try to email him because, wait, is Sandeep in here right now? No, he's not. I'll email Sandeep and I'll try to figure it out, okay? Because currently, let me see. Yeah, we'll try to figure it out because I don't know where he is. I'll email him and figure it out with him, and then once I set up the team group work areas in Microsoft Teams, then you guys will be made aware of who's in your group, kind of thing. But as of now, just assume he is. Cool?
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, the deadline for the wireframe is the 8th of October. But that's like a group project, so you guys are all working on that. So basically by the weekend, you know, someone email me kind of like what you've decided and your group name or whatever, if you come up with that kind of thing, your group name, your group project, and who's in your group. And then I will create the workspaces after that, leading up into our next our next class. And then I'll create individual meetings with each team and meet with you guys probably on the Friday, and have like maybe a half an hour meeting with each team. And then you guys can start working on your project assignment 2 together. Cool. So someone email me whatever it is you guys, what you guys decide, and then I can set up those meetings. Cool.
For the
Awesome.
single screenshot of the wireframe, just the one picture you wanted, the lab, I think it's 4. Is that due today?
Yeah, just show me that you guys understand wireframes and that you got it working on your end, and that I know it's actually, you know, working on your computer, kind of thing. Just to show me that you guys followed along the class.
Okay, thanks again.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording and